Thank you for putting in the chat, and those who have done so far, their name, the club they're from, and their role within the club. If you've yet to do that, if you could just add that in the chat, that'd be great. Thanks. Right, just looking in to get started now. So just going through the session today, it's much the same as structure as the other training that you might have attended so far. So yeah, please do take notes and ask questions either through the chat or just by putting up your virtual hand, and then we can just hear people if they want to actually speak. That's not a problem. It is being recorded, this session, so if you're not a fan of appearing on camera, please turn your camera off. At the end of the training, you've got a short Moodle test to do, which covers the content of this session. This training will also be available to you at the end of the meeting, available through the sports toolkit. We'll hopefully get that up, if not today, then tomorrow. The recording and slides, link to the Moodle quiz will be emailed to you. Right, so just an overview of the Blades team. So we've got Emma Sainty, who heads up our side of the department, she's head of membership and communities, and Hannah is our sports manager. I'm Rob, and I'm the sports coordinator. And then we've got 4 student members of staff who you might be familiar with, especially Abby, who's worked for us the last couple of years. And then finally, Atta works closely with ourselves, and he's VP Student Activities. At the bottom there, you've got our email address. That's for just general sports inquiries. And you've also got the number for our team mobile. If you've yet to join WhatsApp groups, please do. If you're hearing this for the first time, just feel free to kind of put in the chat like what I'm talking about, because we have different WhatsApp groups, different roles. For example, president and vice president's WhatsApp group. And just to remind you that we have changed location. We're now on Square 4, and we're situated below Top Bar. Okay, so the aim of this training today is just to give you knowledge and tools to run your clubs effectively, and hopefully with the overall kind of aim of offering the best possible experience to your members. So going through committee member and core exec members. So each club within the Essex Blades is managed by a committee, and every committee includes 4 core executive members. And these different people oversee the running of the club, and we offer you support with club development along the way. The 4 core roles are listed there. So president, vice president, treasurer, and welfare officer. We'll go into each of those roles in some depth. And your key responsibilities between you are just to make sure you regularly respond to emails and messages from us. We are very active on WhatsApp, and that's probably the easiest way to get a quick reply from us if you need to. Ensure that your members have a positive and engaging experience. Attend all Blades general meetings. We've got 2 of those per term, and ideally you should be having 2 committee members in attendance at each of those meetings. And then make sure all your club activities comply with Essex Blades and SU policies and procedures. So just going through each of those roles now. So starting off with president. So the president is like the figurehead of the club, and they lead and oversee all activities, offering guidance and support to different members of the committee to ensure the club is run smoothly. Just some of the key duties there involved with the role. So like leading with professionalism and respect at all times, setting an example, acting as an ambassador for the club, the SU and the university. You're the main point of contact for the club. We are in the process of updating our sports club web pages, but there's like a contact us link on there. And when a visitor to your club's web page clicks on that contact us link, it should take them through to your email address as president. As I say, they haven't all been finalised, but yeah, you're kind of like the main point of contact for the club. You make the decisions if the committee's at a deadlock on voting on a particular decision, then you come in and you kind of enforce like an overall decision at that point, but ensuring kind of that the wishes of all club members are ideally met. In terms of club finances, you've got a joint role alongside the treasurer in managing those, and just ensure that the club is compliant with laws and regulations, and not only kind of SU and university rules and regs, but obviously like national laws too. So vice president, so they're there to support the president in managing the club, and again ensuring that things run smoothly. You might find that from time to time the vice president might need to deputise for the president if the president's away or not available for a period of time. They prepare agendas for committee meetings, and in addition to that, kind of taking minutes at those meetings and ensure information is communicated to members, and also typically oversee the creation of standards and award applications. So the treasurer role is a really important role. I think for those treasurers who go to finance training should have hopefully a fairly good insight into what your role entails. But you're there to manage the club's finances, ensure transparency and accountability along the way, and ideally make sure that your club has longevity by ensuring that it's financially sustainable. So again, going through the key responsibilities, just monitoring incomings in terms of payments and expenditure. You will hopefully have access to your club's weekly finance report. If that's not coming to you via email, please let me know so we can alert our finance department about that. One of the less pleasant aspects of the role is to ensure that members have paid their membership fees. You shouldn't have anybody attend training beyond October who hasn't paid their membership fees. As you might be aware, October is a month where it's a come and try month. So students don't have to pay membership in order to access training, tryouts, etc. You collaborate with members of the committee to create and manage budgets. You approve members' expenses under £50. That was covered in training last week. Work with the SU on getting potential sponsors for your club. And if you need any guidance on that, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you. And ensure the club complies with all financial policies and procedures. Okay, so moving on to welfare officer, we have got welfare training on Wednesday of this week. So we'll go into your role in more depth then, but just give you a brief overview. So you've got, you're responsible for the safety and well-being of the club members, and you signpost where needed to services that students might benefit from, so e.g. Swiss. You complete relevant training to effectively support members. So like I said, we've got a session on the 24th at 2 o'clock. Signpost those who require it to different support services, and we have some available on campus, like SU Advice, for example, and also online support. Ensure all aspects of the club, including club activities like training sessions, but also travel to away matches if you compete in bucks, and socials are welcoming, accessible and inclusive. And you're the main point of contact when it comes to conflicts even, resolving issues within the committee or escalating to the Essex Blade support team where necessary. I don't want you to feel like you're on your own, so I know sometimes it can be a tricky role to carry out if things aren't particularly harmonious in your club. And if things get too tricky, do reach out to us and we can offer support. Okay, just passing over to Hannah.
Thanks, Rob. So the next bit we're just going to talk about then is the sports toolkit. So if you've held a committee position before, you may be familiar with the sports toolkit. Essentially what it is, it's a page on the EssexStudent.com website. When you go to the opportunity section and then sport, you'll see a sports toolkit section alongside the selection of sports clubs, and alongside there's a section on bucks as well there. So you'll see that on there, and basically what it is, it gives you all the resources essentially that you need to support you in running your club. Everything training wise we do, so recordings of this presentation will be on there, slides, Moodle quiz, etc. We've been working quite hard over the summer to make sure all the resources you need are on there. We covered some of the stuff in finance training the other day, but there's an expenses section on there. So if you've got members asking about expenses and how to complete an expense and stuff like that, we've written a how to complete an expense request guide. That's under there. There's all our policies and procedures under there as well. We'll go through the next slide. So there's a list of what it contains. Essentially, like it says, it just provides loads of resources and guidance on a wide range of areas. So I would just say if you're ever sort of unsure of something, check the toolkit first. If that hasn't got the answer to your question, then feel free to email us. But say, for instance, we're going to put the invoice template on there. So if you need to send the invoice template to officials, that will be on there. Wellbeing support for members, health and safety guidance, event guidance, starting a new sports club. And then at the bottom of the toolkit as well, there's a frequently asked questions section. So there's about 8 different questions on there that just gives you obviously the answers to the frequently asked questions too. Really, really useful sort of page, to make sure you do utilize it as sort of your time as a committee member. The next section is just about memberships and budgeting then. So as Rob said earlier, the role of the treasurer is to ensure that club members have paid their membership, and it's so important that they do this. Memberships are key income from the club and should cover your annual costs. So we covered it in finance training, but essentially all of your expenditure should be covered by sort of club membership income. And it just goes on a little bit in this slide to talk about budgeting as well. So obviously if you've got ideas to be buying loads of equipment, or you've got big plans to be doing extravagant socials that are going to cost money, you just need to make sure that the membership income you're generating can afford that as such. So we would always say to sort of base this off the amount of members you had last year. Obviously, we know we've got sort of a decline in student population, so maybe account for a few less just to be safe. But essentially, you need to consider things like transport. So any non-bucks competition transport, you need to consider how much that's going to cost. It's not cheap. Any facility hire, any equipment you need, and any social events as well. We should have sort of set all of the clubs, well, the majority of the club's membership are live on the website now, so all ready for when students return or come to campus, they can purchase their memberships. But what we'll do is we'll just run through each type of membership. So every club has a social membership. That is a free membership, doesn't cost anything to acquire that. Essentially, what the social membership does is it enables individuals with social membership to vote in club elections. It also puts them on your club mailing list. So we'll go on to talk about the message centre in a little bit. But essentially, you can email them if they've got a social membership, and it allows them to attend come and try sessions. Really, really important that if you have got anyone attending come and try session that or a tryout, that they have got a social membership, and that is for insurance purposes. So if they haven't got a social membership, then they're not covered for insurance at either your come and try or your tryout sessions. Social membership also allows them to attend social events as well. The next sort of general level of membership is playing or competitive membership. As it says there, this really varies by club, so each club may have a different structure. We've tried to simplify it a little bit this year, but it still sort of is different depending on the club structure. And as of once your sort of competitive season starts, this is when individuals will need to purchase the competitive membership in order to be covered by insurance. So important that individuals are paying this. As we said, it's your main income from the club, especially for those that train outside of Essex Sports indoor facilities. So let's take American football, rugby, football, lacrosse, hockey, for instance, like that. Because the clubs that train inside Essex Sport, the members can't get through the barrier unless they've paid their membership. Obviously, everybody that train externally to that, individuals can just turn up to your training. So it's really important as the committee and especially the treasurer that you're on this and you're making sure nobody's attending training if they haven't got a membership. So payment options, again, full year or termly memberships. This year we've restricted termly memberships to the indoor clubs that sort of you can only access behind a barrier at Essex Sport. Again, purely just because for previous years we've sort of found that individuals would pay half their membership, the term 1 element of it, and then we'd never receive a term 2 sort of instalment from them, which obviously has a knock-on effect in terms of club finances and negatively impacts that. Pay per session. So for instance, golf may do this, or swimming and water polo. This is generally good if you're sort of using hired facilities, and it's just important if you are doing a pay per session element that you keep on top of it and you make sure that actually you're not going over, you're not getting oversubscribed, there's only a certain amount available to purchase, etc. And the other sort of option is a cross-club deal. So we can have it where you might have a membership between, I don't know, boxing and kickboxing. We can set up sort of a package deal where an individual pays an increased rate and get access to multiple clubs. As it says at the bottom, and sort of just to reiterate again, really, really important that only those with a playing and competitive membership should attend the training sessions. After that, come and try, and tryout period is finished for insurance purposes. Okay, so the next thing, and hopefully this is not come as a surprise to anyone, but it's really, really important that all members of the committee are in the Blades WhatsApp community. This extends beyond just our core roles. This is every committee role. We want them in our community. We share quite a lot of important updates in there. The links to all the chats they're all hyperlinked in that red text there. So there's a chat for presidents and vice presidents. There's a chat for captains. Really, really so important that the captains are in all of that. So if you haven't decided your captain yet for your Bucks team, if you're a Bucks club, please just make a note once you have that you're sending them that link to join the captains group chat. This is where we ask for sort of travel info, all stuff like that. So super important. All the captains are in there. There's an Essex Blades general chat, and that's for anybody can join that, and then they just get access to the community. So say, for instance, I don't know if you've got a publicity and communications officer. Obviously, we don't have a sort of designated chat for those. We would just ask that they join the general chat. Essex Blades welfare officers chat, and then an Essex Blades social secretaries chat. Last year, what we had is we had quite a broader group of chats which sort of encompassed all roles. So we had one for treasurers, we had one for, let's say, I don't know, kit managers or something like that. But this year we've tried to streamline it a little bit and make sure we've only got the chats that we sort of feel we're using. So we feel like there will be stuff we only need to share with welfare officers. There will obviously be stuff we'll only need to share with presidents and vice presidents. So we'll just put that in that separate chat. But if it's relevant to the whole committee, it will go into the whole community. If you've been on the committee in previous years, you'll sort of have an understanding how it works. So say, for instance, if we had, I don't know, a Freshers Fair stallholder agreement, we'd probably only send that to presidents and VPs because really only relevant for them to sign. Anything more general, like, I don't know, let's say some info about a training cancellation for an evening and it affects, I don't know, 20 clubs, we would probably put it in the general community to make sure everybody could see it. Cool. The next thing then is just about contacting your members. So the first part of this is group chats. So we strongly encourage all clubs to sort of create a group chat, which includes all members of your club and any other relevant individuals. A really good way, obviously Freshers Fair's coming up and we'll go on to talk about Freshers Fair in a little bit, but it might be really useful to print out a QR code if you've got a WhatsApp chat to join that WhatsApp chat, and then you can get anyone that's sort of interested at Freshers Fair just to join that chat. Good way to get them to sign up. etc. We expect committee members to moderate these group chats and be the admins of them. Obviously, if anyone's causing problems and you're not really recognising them as a club member, then you can sort of monitor that and remove them from the chat. We also recommend that you have a committee group chat as well, just to discuss sort of the organisational side and the general running of your club, which obviously members wouldn't usually see. Really important that you've got one of those, as it says there, help you to coordinate effectively with your committee. For instance, things like Freshers Fair, making things like organising a social much easier if you've got a committee group chat. The next bit about contacting your members then is just about the message center. So on essexstudent.com, under the admin tools section. So when you go on to essexstudent.com, you'll see when you logged in, you'll see a pencil icon in the top right corner. If you click on that, that will bring you up to that admin tools section there. So you can loads of different functions you can do on there, add events onto the What's On page. Sales report will show you how many members have paid their membership. So that's where you monitor that thing when we're saying to treasurers about make sure they've paid their membership. Under that sales report section there, that's where you can see who's purchased their membership at what time, etc. There's other stuff on there about edit your details. So that's editing your club web page, which we went through in the social media training. The recording to that is on the toolkit. So if you want to know a bit more in detail about that, you can look on there. But essentially, this section is just about the messages. So you can see the on the left hand side, the middle column there says messages. You would click on that, and what essentially that enables you to do is send an email to all of your registered club members. So there'll be a list on there that says all members. It might say in brackets squash or the amount of people. You click that, that's your recipients, and then you just write your email in the text and send it to that. We utilize this function around elections a lot. So when it comes to election time, we'll usually send an email to your members to sort of say nominations are live, this is when they're closed, this is when voting will open, etc. Because we don't generally tend to have too much contact with your members. Obviously we usually have the contact with the committees, and the committees then have the contact with the members, but if we ever need to contact your members, this is how we would do it. Really useful if you plan to do something like a newsletter, monthly newsletter or something like that. You could utilize this function in order to do that. The next bit then is just about how to add events on the Club What's On page. As it says, there's a video on how to do this on the Sports Toolkit as well, so you can find that. But essentially the steps are below there. As I said, it's on that admin tools section. It's under events. You just need to complete all the information and make sure under your event type you select sport. Add the image that's relevant. Obviously, if it's a sports club social that you want your club members to see, maybe don't, put a picture of some first aid training or something like that on there. Make sure you select save. That will save it and go on there. It then will appear on the What's On page and your club page as well. So in your About Us section, scroll right to the bottom, you'll see all the club's events, and you can actually set these events to be viewed by everyone, or you can restrict it to certain individuals. So if there was, a social you wanted to charge tickets to that you only wanted your members to view, you could set that up on the What's On page. Super important to add things that you want to get out there to all students, because it's really well viewed. As it says there, top 5 most viewed pages. Really great ad platform for capturing audience attention. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our Student Union marketing team, which are a permanent staff team that do marketing, but this is where they will look at events that they're going to promote. So say, for instance, if they're sending an all student email out and they want to know what's coming up in the month of, let's say, October, they would look at the What's On, look at the events, and then they would include that in there. So they base a lot of what they do in marketing off of the What's On page. So that's that. All your come and try sessions and your tryouts are on there currently. So just, you can have a look, see how it's set up, etc. The only thing with the What's On page to note is the only thing you can't do as a student is add tickets. So if your event needs to be ticketed, what we ask that you do is you set up the event, you send us a link to the event, we can then add the tickets to it. Obviously include the price of the ticket, include how many you want it to be restricted to, whatever. But again, like I said, great if you want to do a social that you need to ticket or anything like that. Okay, so the next section is just about SU marketing then. So SU marketing is a permanent department within the Students' Union. It manages the following sort of channels. So the website, the essexstudent.com website that we've spoken about, is managed by the marketing team. Social media, so the Essex SU account is managed by those, and they manage some sub accounts as well. Feel free to tag them in their your stories. They may share depending on sort of how relevant they feel it is and the capacity and what's planned for social media that day. As it says there, they do a weekly student email. That's why it's super important that your stuff's maybe on the what's on. Digital screens, they manage those. So the screens between squares 3 and then as you walk up to square 4, they manage what goes on there. So if ever you want some artwork or anything like that put on there, feel free to share it with us and we can share it with them. And we've got the specific dimensions that it needs to be. So if you're creating it on Canva, they are the same dimensions as what an Instagram story would be, but if you need to know what they are, we can share it with you. They manage other poster sites as well. So for instance, the back of the loos by the greenhouse. And so if there's anything like that you want on there, feel free to send us the request with at least 3 weeks in advance, and then we can speak to marketing and make it happen. Obviously, it says there support is provided based on relevance and available capacity. So say if we had all 42 sports clubs requesting something in 1 week, probably not going to be able to accommodate all requests, but that's very, very rare. And this is something I feel like we haven't really utilised that well in the past. So really would like to, if we can, sort of try and be a bit better at promoting your sports clubs on campus. And so any ideas for sort of how you can do that, what you can put on the digital screens, artwork, please share them with us, because we're really, really keen this year to have more of a sort of physical presence on campus as such. Cool. The next thing is just about open days then. So open days occur quite regularly. We actually had one on Saturday just gone. They provide a chance for prospective students to sort of come to Essex, see what life's like, see what the campus is like, and obviously there's an opportunity to see sort of what the SU does and what sports clubs they can join. On average, about 1,000 to 2,000 people attend the open days. They can speak with academics, attend talks, etc. We usually look to have a mix of 8 societies and clubs to come and run a stall on the day. So we split that between 4 clubs and 4 societies. Clubs can receive a donation of £150 if they're successful in their application in running a stall at open day. So the open day team will give you £150 if you're successful in your application. How it normally works is we send a type form out for you to register your interest. We then, a bit closer to the open day, confirm the stall with you. And then obviously, depending if you meet the criteria for the open day, which is basically that 2 individuals from the committee need to man that stall all day, then the club, then the open day team will donate £150 to your club funds. Great opportunity for volunteering, and we'll go on to talk about club standards in a bit, but great opportunity for volunteering for that and for your club's fundraising as well. You'll be sent an email when one of these opportunities to arise, just to ask you to complete the type form. And then, yeah, like I said, we'll update you closer to the time as to whether or not you've been successful. Okay, the next bit's just about Freshers' Fair then. So hopefully you're all aware of when Freshers' Fair is this year. It's Friday, the 3rd of October. So not this coming Friday, the following Friday. We ask that you set up from 10 o'clock in the morning. The first sort of hour of Freshers' Fair is a quiet hour. So no music will be played during that time. And then the main fair is between 12 and 4 o'clock. As it says there, it's a fantastic opportunity to sort of promote your sports club to new students and returning students as well. And we sort of say that you should use this to advertise your clubs and your teams. and really, really important and great opportunity to promote your tryouts and come and try sessions during this time, and great opportunity to grow your membership too. Please make your stall engaging and welcome. Bring some equipment down. If you want to order anything, stickers, badges, banners, anything like that, either order it yourselves and claim it back through the expensing system, or let us know and we can sort of support you with it. The deadline to complete the performance request and freshers fair stall agreement was today. So please, if you haven't done that already and you want to perform, or you want to sign up, or you need to complete the agreement form, please do that ASAP. With the performances, those that have signed up to do a performance, we are going to review it this week, and then we'll get back to you with a timetable to let you know when you're performing and where you're performing. This year we've sort of separated a little bit. So outside the Silber Ad Centre, we're going to have a designated performance area. So that'll be for more sort of structured, routine sort of performances. And then on Square 5, you can see it in that picture there, next to where the stalls and benches are, and where we've historically had the performance area sort of on the end of there, we're going to have a demonstration area. So that'll be a more of a sort of a relaxed performance area as such. That might just be the case that, I don't know, if football want to do maybe some keepy apps in that space, they can do that. We'll send out some more comms on how actually we're going to organise and manage that space, but there'll be an opportunity to do that for any clubs that want to. So yeah, we'll send some more info. Okay, come and try sessions and tryout sessions. We've mentioned them a little bit as we've gone on so far, but we've uploaded them all onto the What's On page. Please promote these on social media. As sort of we get closer and closer to welcome starting, we'll be promoting them on our stories as well and tagging you in those. We'll also be putting them on the digital screens between squares and 4. All students need to make sure they're booked onto the Essex Sport app. If you want to know who wants to attend, you can go to Essex Sport and ask, who's actually booked onto the session, and they need a social membership in order to attend these sessions. All students can attend club sessions for free throughout October, as Rob said earlier, unless you've told us otherwise. So, for instance, if you're a Bucks club that wants to restrict your training to members only after, I don't know, the 10th of October, because you want to focus on Bucks from that point, I think we've got everyone's details back that want to do that. If you hadn't let us know, please let us know ASAP, because we need to send that over to Essex Sport. Obviously must still book onto the Essex Sport app. Anyone that is still attending those sessions, come and try sessions and tryouts, can't really stress the importance of sort of how important this is for attracting new members to your clubs and sort of building your membership for this. Okay, so the next section is about standards and awards then. So we're currently in the process of sort of reviewing club standards and awards, and we're looking at splitting standards potentially between non-Bucks clubs and Bucks clubs, just to make it sort of more relevant to your club. In the past, it's been the case that Bucks sort of clubs have had an extra section to score on that relates to their Bucks targets. So we're looking at splitting those up. And we're also in the process of reviewing the awards categories as well as actually the awards ceremony and even in itself. And we'll be sending out sort of some type form on to gather your feedback and how you would want, what you would want to see in terms of the actual ceremony, and any categories you may feel more relevant than what we currently offer. And then we'll sort of be going through that and sort of changing based on your feedback. In terms of the club standards, I'm aware that some of you may still be like starting to look at these and work towards these, and it's really fantastic if you are. So essentially the following things will still be assessed in the club standards, so don't worry, we're not going to totally revamp it and change it. We're just going to make some sort of minor adjustments, but essentially your volunteering, your committee meetings, your fundraising, socials, training register completion. So Rob will go on to talk about training registers in a bit, and Bucks. So all that stuff will still be considered. So keep planning. If you're working towards your standards, make sure you're hitting those volunteering stuff in term 1, fundraising, everything like that, because you still will be awarded for those as well. The next bit is just about elections then. So we're going to make a change to the election process for this academic year. Previously, our elections have just sort of run in our department. We've decided the nominations dates, we've decided the voting dates. As a change this year, they are now going to run alongside the general leadership elections. So all of you may be aware of the big sort of student leadership elections that the SU runs. Sports clubs elections will now run alongside those two. However, this will only be for the core roles, so it will only be for your president, vice president, welfare officer and treasurer roles. And the aim of this is essentially to increase the promotion of our sports club elections. Sometimes we really struggle getting enough votes and stuff like that. So with certain incentives and stuff like that, hopefully this will increase our voter turnout and everything like that. All non-core roles, so any role that sits outside of those four that I've just mentioned, will be elected in May. The next bit then is just about any ordering of sort of any clothes or equipment. So Bucks playing kit is provided by Essex Sport and is not replaced annually. So Bucks playing kit is a university asset. The university own that, the university pay for that, and that sort of Essex Sport owns it. And it's really, really important, and I can't stress this enough, how essential it is that you sort of keep tabs on it, make sure that it's all accounted for at the end of the year. And we'll go over it a bit more in Bucks captains training, but where you guys might not be there. So it's really, really important that any Bucks kit you have is accounted for, because we're in situations every year, unfortunately, where less than half the kit is returned, and then if that is the case, the money comes from the club funds. Obviously, it's not cheap, as you can imagine, so super, super important for you all to make sure this is accounted for, and we try and say don't just let individuals take it home, because instances in the past we've started sending out messages and emails for individuals to send, like, bring back their Bucks kit, and they're like, oh, they've gone home for the year, etc. So please make sure you're on top of it. If you want to order any additional stuff, we're actually working with Surridge and Essex Sport at the minute just to get a leisure range signed off, which is much, much cheaper. Surridge wear, so they've got a variety of items that we're hoping to add to the club's web shop, things like t-shirts, hoodies, stuff like that. If you want to do this, there's a couple of ways we can do it. We can either adjust your membership price, and it could include something like a free t-shirt. Women's rugby have done this, tennis have done this year. Really nice way to get a bit more promo for your club if you're giving every member a t-shirt, and helps with that sort of physical presence that we've been talking about for the Blades. Another way we could do it is on your merchandise section of your club page. We can set up a product that would maybe, I don't know, let's say a t-shirt's £12. We can set that product up. You can give your members a deadline to buy it by, let's say, the end of October. And then what we can then do is, once everybody's paid it, we can put an order in through Surridge. And then obviously anyone that's paid the money can, in exchange, will get a t-shirt or a hoodie, whatever you've decided to go for. If you got any questions about it, you want to make this happen, feel free to email me, and I can work with you and Surridge to sort it out. Alternatively, you can email Surridge directly, but I would say come to us first, and then we can assess sort of what you need and then go from there. For any new equipment, so if you need new hockey sticks, new rugby balls, new footballs, whatever it may be, please email me and I'll get this sort of sorted out, providing you've got the club funds to do so. For request must be approved by your treasurer as well, as it says there. That's just to ensure that you have got the funds in order to do it, and all equipment costs will come from your club funds. So we don't provide any sort of funds for any equipment costs. Okay, last slide before me, just before I pass back over to Rob. So Blades Exec Committee. Some of you may be aware of the Blades Exec Committee. Essentially, it's the same as one of your committees, but they run Essex Blades overall. They still have a president, a vice president, and so on. The Blades president this year is Atta, so it's always the case that the Blades president is the VP activities. The rest of the committee is currently empty. We're in the process of writing some application forms for it. Once we've sort of completed these, we'll send them out to you, and you can sort of apply to partake in one of these positions. It's not a massive amount of work. It's obviously voluntary, but good thing for your CV and everything like that, and Big Essex Awards, etc. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Rob now.
Right, so with the Blades general meetings, they're held twice a term. So I mentioned that earlier today, and tried to get 2 committee members present at each of those meetings. I think that we were looking to possibly get this as a feature of club standards to be assessed on for the different tiers. You receive a calendar invitation to those general meetings, so please accept them. So then they would have an idea of who's due to attend. The dates for the general meetings penciled in for this calendar year and next are listed there. So the first general meeting of the year is on the 9th of October. If you'd like to put forward an item for the agenda, just email Blades and we can then add that in. So kind of things that are covered at a GM include updates and discussions on topics such as kind of key information that link to a particular term. There might be like in spring that we cover in the GM information to do with sports awards, training and facility updates. So we might have like updates from Essex Sport that we share with you, and other important club related news. We really do value your input, so it would be great for you to kind of when you come to kind of get involved in discussions and raise things that are kind of pertinent to your club or to the wider community. So committee meetings. I think it's really important that you try to have committee meetings as kind of like a regular feature of your of how your club operates. So I'd say aim to get at least one a month, and some clubs do it more frequently than that. But what they serve is you know, there's a way of keeping everybody updated with what's going on, a good way of keeping connected, ensure that like channels of communication remain open. Also kind of like a way of you discussing kind of how to divide responsibilities and to match different people to their strengths of different roles that are required. They don't have to be particularly long. I think generally speaking between half an hour to an hour. And the kind of things that could be discussed at those meetings are the club's finances. Also the opportunity for like the treasurer to share with the committee kind of what membership fees are still outstanding, how to maybe seek advice from the committee about how to go about chasing those. Also covering there what strategies you could use when it comes to social media and recruiting students to your clubs. Good opportunity also to like identify opportunities for socials, and to also delegate tasks amongst the committee. Some committees choose to take minutes of their meetings and then upload them to their club's website. If you ever need guidance on how to do that, please let me know. So just going on to managing conflicts now. So if you ever faced with a situation where people aren't getting on for one reason or another, try to kind of speak to individuals involved separately, not necessarily in the same room at the same time initially, because then things could get a bit awkward. You could try to do that either one-to-one or possibly with somebody from the committee that you get on with who you think will be supportive in such a situation. It's important that you kind of get to the truth, so focus on the facts rather than kind of pinpointing blame on any individual. and also kind of factor in situations which different individuals might be experiencing, which might affect their behaviour and how they interact with others. If you're finding that an issue within your club is ongoing and you need support from us, then do reach out, either email us at Blades or WhatsApp us, and we'd be more than happy to kind of intervene and help you. If there's any situations that involve bullying, harassment, feel free to kind of contact SU Advice or student support, and don't dwell on it. Like, the sooner the better if that happens. Accident report form. We will cover this in welfare training later in the week, but we've created an online version of the accident incident report form, which can be found via those links in the PowerPoint, which you'll have access to later. For health and safety and insurance purposes, it's kind of vital that it's completed after any sports club related accidents, because it might be that we need to claim for, I don't know, physiotherapy for a student who's suffered an accident, and if it isn't documented, it can then be hard to claim back through the SU's insurance policy to kind of support the payment of that sort of treatment if needed. So Derby Day is scheduled for next calendar year, 22nd of April. So it's important to kind of make your teams aware that they keep that day free to get your strongest sides out as possible. If you feel that you need extra training requests leading up to Derby Day, just please request those and give us like a month's notice, so then we can liaise with Essex Sport to secure those, to try our best to secure those for you. The 22nd of April is only a couple of days after term resumes, so consider how to kind of get your teams coming back early from Easter to best prepare for Derby Day. Make sure they're ready, so we can give UEA like the closest contest that they may have experienced in recent years. We'll share information to do that day closer to the time. I just wanted to put on that on your radar at this point. Also, like, it's important that we get as much support as we can, and we're hosting this time, so if we support from different following different teams might prove the difference in a close run match. So yeah, try to get as many people along to match as you can. Training registers. So we're going to be sharing an Excel sheet with you, and it's different to what we've used last year, where we had separate registers per club. So what we've got now is just one single spreadsheet, which will be shared with you before the end of this month. And each tab has a separate password, and each tab is assigned to a separate club. So you'll only be able to make amendments to your tab for your club. But I'll be sharing guidance with that when that document is shared with you. So don't worry about it too much at this stage. So Essex Sport every year deliver floodlight training. So if you're a club that uses floodlights, you'll be required to attend a briefing session. I don't think, Hannah, we've got a date for that as yet, have we? So when we haven't at this point, but when we're informed by Essex Sport that they've got a date for that training, we'll share that with the relevant clubs, and please try your utmost to be there. So booking travel. So it's important for you to know that we do not cover transport costs from non-BUCS related events. We can still make bookings for you. We have done that in the past for clubs like cheerleading, and we can also book a large number of train tickets for you via our online Trainline account. We've also got an agreement with Roman Coaches to provide travel for our sports clubs, but just be mindful that any costs associated with non-BUCS related events will come out of your club's funds. So it's important to kind of budget for that if you know you've got an event coming up. If you're considering traveling with an outside company, just be careful. There's a lot of people out there who like to scam vulnerable people for kind of money, and your transport may never show up. But it's better to go with a company that we've got good relationship with, which is Roman Coaches. There's also the opportunity for you to drive SU vehicles. If you want to inquire about that, just please drop a message to Blade's email address or through WhatsApp. No expenses are improved unless you've got prior agreement with ourselves.
I'll just add to that as well, where it says there about non-BUCS competition. That is essentially any competition that isn't guaranteed BUCS points. So say, for instance, if it's a one-off BUCS event, let's say, and I don't know, it's some swimming course championships, what we would say in that case is that the club and the individual members of that club would be required to cover the entry fees, would be required to cover the travel and any associated accommodation costs. If they were then to achieve BUCS points at that event, we would reimburse all of those costs. However, if BUCS points are guaranteed, so essentially outside of those league and knockout competitions that generally run, the club or the individuals will be required to cover those costs. There is a BUCS accommodation and travel policy on the sports toolkit that you can have a read through just to understand actually how it all works, if you've got any sort of questions or queries about that. So I'll pass back to Rob.
So first aid training, we've got some first aid training scheduled for early next month. So every club is required to have at least 2 individuals on the committee that are first aid trained. If you've already got that certification, then let us know so we can update our records. We're holding sessions on the 1st of October and 7th and 16th. And you can book your tickets through what's on, I think maybe some of those are already sold out, so do get in quick if you haven't got the requirements we're looking for. Everybody who attends that course will get a certificate. So just now the opportunity to ask some questions that you may have. So feel free to kind of drop those in the chat, or if you'd like to just kind of raise your hand, we can come to individuals. And I was going to just give you just a few moments now just to drop anything in the chat or ask a question if you need to. Sorry, Sarah got a hand up. Feel free to ask your question. Thank you.
Are we gonna talk about the BUCS app, like any debrief on the app itself?
Oh, BUCS Play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Are you a captain of a team that's involved in BUCS?
On the futsal team, I'm the the club secretary.
Oh, you're the club secretary. Okay.
I do serve as the second team captain, so yeah, second team captain.
Oh, second team captain. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, we've got 2 captains training sessions which are scheduled for next month. One is on the 1st of October at 2 o'clock, and the other one's on the 13th of October. So hopefully you'll be able to get along to one of those.
First again, and
the 1st of October and the 13th. Just going to double check with Hannah. Has calendar invites been sent out to that for?
No, we haven't sent any calendar invites out yet, and the reason is we only have got about 50% of our captain position filled because a lot of clubs are waiting for obviously teams to be decided and stuff like that. So hopefully this week we'll send out some invitations to those, and you can attend one of those where we'll go through everything BUCS.
Yeah, so just build on what Hannah said. Yeah, we'll be going through the role and responsibilities as a captain. We'll also be looking at how that functions and what is required of you and what you need to do with the app before match day and straight after a fixture has been played. So yeah, we'll cover that. But good question, thank you. I think we've just got some other possible questions in the chat. Just bear with me.
Can I just double check
Yeah, sorry.
dates again? The 1st of October and 13th of October?
Yeah, so 1st of October is at 2 o'clock, and I'm looking at the board ahead of me. If you see what my eyes like going up in a different direction, and on the 13th, I'm just double checking the start time, and that is 1 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock, Hannah, and then 5 o'clock on the 13th. So that is 2 o'clock on the 1st of October or 5 o'clock on the 13th. You don't have to attend both, just either one of those is fine.
Can I just check you're in the captain's chat as well?
I am, yes, I am.
Well, we'll share all the details in there.
All right, okay.
I see we've also got a message to do about washing kits. Do we get a card? Oh, you've replied to that already, sorry. Oh, Hannah, you're very efficient. See, looks like you replied to both of those. Okay, amazing. Thank you, Hannah. Do we need to do another first aid training if we have a certificate already? And one of our members has St. John's Ambulance first aid. Does he need to do first aid training at university? I would say that no, but what would be good for our records is obviously we want 2 committee members that are first aid trained. So if those individuals could send over proof of their first aid qualifications and to show that they're in date, that would be great. Thank you. Are there any other questions that you may have? If your first aid qualification has been secured overseas, okay, Hannah, yeah, we're fine with that. Just again, it would be good to have a copy of that qualification just sent through, so like a JPEG of the qualification will suffice. When we get the updated standards and application forms for club standards?
I think we will aim for the end of October. It's quite a lengthy piece of work potentially, so that will be the aim. Like I said, those things will all still be covered. It won't change too drastically, but yeah, we'll aim to have them with you by the end of October.
Yeah, Robert, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, so feel free to kind of just get in touch with me via email or through the Blades phone and via WhatsApp, and then we can pencil in a date. Just share with me what your availability is for what's left of this week and next week, and then we can get something penciled in. That's not a problem. Okay, just gonna have a slight delay for a bit, just in case any more coming through, because might be people that are typing. Okay, I think that possibly might be it. Okay, yeah, don't go anywhere, because as you can see on the slide, it says that we've just got a video for you to watch and a Moodle quiz for you to complete. The video is on manual handling training, and I know there's some of our clubs, well, all of our clubs will have to carry equipment as part of their training activities at some point, and also on match day if you're involved in bucks. And some of our clubs have to carry more heavy equipment and awkward equipment than others. So by watching this video, it's just a way of just educating you about how to conduct safer manual handling, and so kind of mitigates the risks associated with that. And we will aim also, as a follow-up to this, to arrange an in-person manual handling training for you, which will be delivered by our health and safety manager. So I'll be in touch probably October at some point to make you aware of that opportunity as well.
If anyone has any difficulties accessing the Moodle quiz, can you just let us know, and then we can manually add you to the quiz. There's 19 questions on it. Pass mark 16 out of 19. You can retake it if you don't pass the first time. I put the link in the chat there, and as Rob said about the manual handling video as well. If you've got access to the quiz, feel free to leave. You no longer need to be in this call. If you don't, like I say, just feel free to let us know and we can add you to it. The link isn't working. That's because I put the wrong link. Let's try this one. That is the correct link. Does that work? Perfect, thanks, Lily. Where is the video? The video should be on that section that says manual handling video. Should be a link on there. Under the core officer training. No problem, Grace.
Just to let you know, we'll stay on this Teams call for like another 10 minutes or so. So if any of you do need to speak to us, message us, just feel free. And then after about 10 minutes, at 4:15-ish, we'll leave the meeting. Okay. But all the best with the quiz, and I hope you found the training useful. And I imagine I'll see some of you on Wednesday's welfare training. Okay. Thank you.